Hello.
Look at that.
Look at that.
We figured it out.
Welcome, everybody. It is week 4 of college football. Last week of non-con for the ECU Pirates, and overall a great week of football. This is the Down East Sports Network. I am Jacob Miller. Ask Paul Phillips. Those of y'all that are new, feel free to put anything. Well, don't put anything in the chat, but questions, calling us dumb, within reason. You know, we'd love to have an interactive chat, whether you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter, please like and retweet. If you're on Twitch, subscribe. Don't really know how Twitch works.
Yeah. That's a Matt thing.
Yeah. Our producer that
doesn't produce
anymore. We'll jump right off the top with a little ECU Coastal review. We'll talk a little bit about what happened in week 3, then jump right into a preview of a major matchup this week, Saturday night at 7:30 inside Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. Hit you with our top 12s, some quick picks, and we'll talk a little bit about what's left of the slate, and we'll end it with Paul's jersey matchups of the week. But we'll jump into it, an absolute beatdown of the Chanticleers down there in Conway, South Carolina. A little slow start, but Gatenhauser's really looking like the man right about now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, our last 2 games have been against an FCS team, and for all intents and purposes, another FCS team.
Similar
no
to
disrespect to Coastal. I actually like I like Coastal's whole thing, but y'all ain't it this year. I'm sorry, but. He's, like you said, I mean, he's been the truth so far, or these last 2 games. Obviously, I feel like there were a lot of other factors that played into him not necessarily being 100% truth in the state game, but he's flipped that switch and he is on fire right now.
I mean, he is making some unbelievable throws, and yes, is it against 2 lesser opponents, but just his ability to layer the football this year has been great. His decision-making has improved so far this year. That needs to continue going into this week, which we'll get to in a little bit. But and I know it's a very down – this is not the Coastal team of 3-4 years ago with Grayson McCall leading the helm behind the center. But we didn't run the ball at will, but we ran the ball much better.
Yeah.
And I think – you're starting to see this offensive line start to gel, and you're really seeing this defense start to gel. And that was, I mean, again, bad Coastal team, but it's something to shut out a Division I FBS program in their own stadium.
That was, if I got my numbers right, that was our first road shutout win since 2000, and their first home shutout loss since 2008, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, to be the cause of both of those stats that have held up now for 17 to 25 years is pretty impressive. So it was a historic day down in Conway.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Coastal fans, not for Coastal.
No. But really liked what I've seen from us as a whole so far. The wide receivers we're starting to see more and more of them break out. Smith had a good game. Brock's still, one of the best options there. He seems to have weapons. We have a lot of speed, and you're starting to see something I talked about after the NC State game is the downfield blocking is starting to be there more and more.
Yep.
I think that's something I know I'm going to get to a little later in the show, but all in all, that's I don't have much on the beatdown.
There's really not much to dive into as far as this game goes. I mean, yeah, it was just from top to bottom in every sense of the word, just a demolition, basically, which I know we both kind of expected it to be a sizable win, but at least for me, I was worried just because of kind of what that game is. I figured it might end up randomly being close at the end. I was worried about that. Not even a little bit.
No.
Not even a little bit. They went out there and handled business way more emphatically than I thought they would. So I'm well pleased after that.
Well, we'll jump into what was, an absolute just perfect weekend of college football.
Peach.
We'll start to kind of in the game that kicked everything off at noon. Georgia Tech fire drill field goal to beat Clemson, and all of a sudden Clemson's got 2 losses. Things around there aren't going so well.
I think this might be the beginning of the end for them in the ACC, at least for this season. Obviously, they're Clemson, so they're going to be towards the top of the conference every single year. But as far as their chance of not only winning the conference but making it to Charlotte in the first place might be just done and dusted for all intents and purposes. I mean, I think they're at best right now the 4th best team in that conference.
It's looking that way
You
right
got
now.
the 2
You can't
Florida
put
teams
you
and
can't put
Georgia
them
Tech.
them and Georgia Tech. I mean, obviously Georgia Tech just beat them, but
Yeah.
the 2 Florida teams as well.
Well, that was also Georgia Tech beat them. They probably should have beat them by more.
They definitely
The way that game went, I feel like they kind of let them hang around a lot longer than they had planned on throughout that game, because it got to a point where it looked like Georgia Tech might have been on the verge of blowing it open.
Yeah.
And then Clemson, to their credit, hung around, but just not enough.
I mean, I've been waiting to see more from Klubnik. That first, I want to say it was the first drive at the end of the half, and I think I tweeted it was right when he slipped and fell, and I was like, where is Cade Klubnik, because this ain't him.
Yeah.
He ends up the next drive, whenever it was, starts kind of dicing him down the field. Well, gets it not inside the 20, but inside the 30, and just throws a pick. I mean, just a god-awful pick. And that seems to be kind of the story with a lot of these quarterbacks that were hyped up before the season, not kind of to jump around, but DJ Lagway throws 5 interceptions against LSU. Garrett's not looking that great at LSU the last 2 weeks.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Is we went into this season in week 1 with the LSU Clemson game being the best quarterback in the country is going to be playing in this game. Take your pick of which one it is. Neither of them, I don't think, are the best quarterback in their own conference.
I mean, Arch still hasn't looked great. Lenore Sellers is out with a concussion, presumably. But he hasn't looked great.
No.
I mean, things are going downhill fast for Florida, and I mean, DJ, they get competent quarterback play, they probably go into Baton Rouge and beat LSU.
Yeah,
but
LSU did not look like the world beaters that people were making them out to be at all.
Texas rather gets a couple cupcakes before I think they enter conference play. Obviously, Florida's got another big matchup this week. The 3:30 slate was spectacular. Maybe not for my nerves as a Georgia fan, but glad we came out on top in what was one of the better games I've ever seen in my life. Well, you actually attended probably one of the better games of the weekend.
Yeah, also in the 3:30 slate, the backyard brawl up in Morgantown. That was one of the best sporting events I think I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Just going there as a Mountaineer for the day and watching them just kind of handle Pitt early in that game. And then I don't know what was going on with the quarterback experiment in the second half, but 3 different quarterbacks ended up playing like in the third quarter, whatever it was. Pitt jumps out to at one point, I think, a 10-point lead. Yeah, actually, I know it was a 10-point lead. And then finally, Nico Marchiol gets put back in the starter and just delivers just a hell of a comeback.
Yeah.
And God, what an environment. That was, if you watched that game on TV, I've gone back and watched highlights and stuff like that from that game. There is the TV broadcast was almost like it was on mute compared to how loud it was in that place. It was jumping, and oh my God, what a game.
Kind of lead into my first question on week 3 as a whole, kind of cap off the week. Notre Dame loses a nail biter against Texas A&M on a dropped extra point, possible hold on the last drive, last play.
Yeah.
But A&M walks out on top. Who had the worst loss of the weekend in your opinion?
I wrote down 5 different games. There's 2 obvious ones. It's got to be the 2 coach firing games.
Yeah.
I mean, New Mexico went into the Rose Bowl and just beat the hell
Did
out
what
of
they wanted
UCLA.
with UCLA.
35-10. And Old Dominion, same thing in Blacksburg. 45-26. Brent Pry and Deshaun Foster both kicked to the curb after those results, rightfully so.
Not to interrupt you, between those two programs, who do you think's down the worst?
Virginia Tech, because their fans care.
Fair.
UCLA, at face value, is absolutely down the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know if they win more than a game this year, but
It's
Virginia Tech, because of how rabid that fan base is, especially about football, and with what we've seen them be in the last 25 years, which we haven't really seen from UCLA, at least on a consistent basis, I think it's got to be Virginia Tech, just based on the scenario and the passion that program brings. I feel like it's got to be them.
Yeah.
I don't know what else if you had.
No, that was kind of it.
Yeah.
The two programs that couldn't be in more dismay. Although I do think if the climb back's easier for Virginia Tech than it is for UCLA
Probably.
with the conference they're in, and like you said, that's people don't care about UCLA football.
No.
Unless they're good, and
even when they're good, that stadium's not even close to full.
Yeah, so
they got to put banners up on the seats already anyway.
Blacksburg, that is very much a football town.
Yeah.
But yeah, who else you had that had bad losses this weekend?
Both the Pac-12 schools. I feel like more notably, just because Oregon State played a solid opponent at least. North Texas just dismantled Washington State. That was almost sad to see. It was cool on one hand. I'm not a conference pride guy, but it is nice sometimes watching our fellow conference members go beat teams with an ounce of stature. That stature is now completely gone from Pullman, Washington. 59-10 your final score. That's basically it for the Pac-12, at least in their current form. I know they're adding a good few schools from the Mountain West, and I mean Texas State from the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
But just that it's a sad state of affairs in that conference. And then I had a couple, like we mentioned Georgia Tech, Clemson. I feel like that's writing on the wall beginning for Clemson long term. Not that Georgia Tech is at all a bad team. I think they're a very good team and could be in Charlotte at the end of the season. But that's a tough one if you're Clemson. And then I had Duke losing to Tulane. I know that game was at Tulane.
One of my two wins of last week.
Yeah. And Tulane, obviously, great program in the G5, but Duke having Tulane's quarterback from last year, Darian Mensah, going down there, it's a homecoming for him, and to go lose to him after taking your NIL bag with Manny Diaz up in Durham, that's a tough one. It's not on the same level as these other ones, but I had to kind of make that point. Plus, I get to shit on Duke a little bit.
I think it's between two teams. I think it's either Florida or Clemson. And I think, kind of like you said with Clemson, it's a similar story between the two. I think the writing is on the wall following those losses. I think it's much easier for Clemson to get up off the mat. Florida might be in trouble because this stretch they're about to go on is not fun.
You talking about their schedule this season?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're
so they get Miami this week. Then I believe they play Texas, which we get the battle of quarterbacks that were overrated at the beginning of the year. Yeah. Then they get Mississippi State, who's not an easy out. And then they catch somebody tough after that too. I can't remember who.
Let's find out.
But and then Georgia's follows that. I mean, it's
murder.
I think we looked at it last week a little bit.
Did.
That I mean, it's going to be tough for them to win 4 games.
Oh, I know.
That being it said, while you look that up, keeping it in the Southeastern Conference, who do you think the leader of the pack is? Because I think in other conferences, well, I think it's pretty similar in the Big Ten as well, and the ACC. Actually, all 4 of the Power 4 conferences, there's kind of a top 3, 4, so to speak.
Yeah. There's definitely a certain subset of teams in the SEC, I think, that can go win that conference. But right now, who do I think is the best team in the SEC? they're on your head. They're on this pillar. I think it's very clearly Georgia at this point. I mean, they've done nothing but just handle business. That was a gritty road win in Neyland, which is never easy. And then, I mean, you saw LSU look shaky against, like we said, a Florida team that's about to be in hell, basically.
Yeah.
It's not a great Florida team. I have a couple other schools that I think they've looked better than anticipated, but I just think Georgia at this point is slightly above everybody else in that conference, making kind of in the driver's seat, basically.
Not quite there yet.
Okay. Well, I know you're not.
I mean, we're still going to go 7-5.
Yeah, I bet.
As big of and I think we watched 2 playoff teams play in Neyland Stadium Saturday. I think Tennessee is a legitimate, very, very good team. I think Georgia, all joking aside with the whole 7-5 crap, Georgia's a very talented football team. Gunner can't throw the deep ball. Okay, how's that for your first play?
Yeah.
But I think you got to take a close look at Texas A&M right now. We did the same thing with Notre Dame last year. Different loss to Northern Illinois, but they've lost to a Miami team who I think everyone thinks is really damn good. Yeah. And now a Texas A&M team that is supposed to be pretty good. They go on the road and win. Is this defense as good as it was last year? No, obviously. Final score is what, 41-40?
Yeah.
I believe. CJ Carr can play.
Absolutely.
The offense is still there. We saw Love be a lot more threatening against Texas A&M.
Finally.
And Texas A&M withstood, I think, what is it, Marcus Reed, their quarterback? I think he's
Marcel
Reed. I think he's the real deal. That being said, I still think it's probably a coin flip between A&M and Georgia. And I think Tennessee's a close third, and don't count Alabama out yet. We get to see what they're made of, not this week, but the next. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to give a shout out to Oklahoma too. You've touched on Tennessee.
Yeah,
and
I
Texas
totally
A&M,
forgot about Oklahoma.
Yeah, those were 2 teams that I was going to mention as well. But Oklahoma has
win of the weekend.
Yeah, they've looked a lot better than I gave them credit for, and they got a big one coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
so,
a little revenge game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll dive into them in just a little bit when we get into this week's slate. But yeah, I think Oklahoma they've shocked me, and I think Venables is buying himself some time right now.
But I think that you look at the Big Ten, you have Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State. The ACC, you got Miami, Florida State, Georgia Tech. The Big 12, you got a handful of
top 2 teams playing each other this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech and Utah. You can throw Iowa State in there. We'll see about BYU.
Yeah.
But it seems to be
Arizona State is
still alive.
They're still alive.
I mean, obviously, it's so early in the year, but I feel like the SEC's as wide open as it's been in a long time.
I know we're going to dive into it later too, but I mean, we'd be remiss to not say BYU too. Has a shot at winning that conference too. I know it's been hate week on Twitter and all that this week, but I mean, BYU, we all know is a very good team. So,
that being said, we talked about the Power 4 a little bit there. Who do you think is the best group of 5 team?
So you know me and how I feel about USF. They were my darling coming into the season, and they've proved me right. I mean, I got off. We had to stop on
had to hop off for a little bit.
I got out and I got off the train, got some coffee, and now we're back on the train.
I got on like an idiot.
I think it's more of a group of teams than it is one specific. I think it's your top 3 in the American, which is USF, Memphis, Tulane. And I'll even give a shout out to North Texas. I don't quite think that they're in this level yet, but they've looked very good so far. Like I mentioned, they just whooped up on Washington State. And then probably UNLV. Yeah. I think those are your clear-cut 4.
It's hard to argue any differently. And, I mean, it attests to kind of the quality we play as East Carolina fans. The AC is pretty darn good this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what these 3 teams end up doing to each other, because I think one of them's getting into the playoff.
Probably so, unless they just start to eat each other alive and whatnot. But I feel like it'd be hard to do that. I think it's either the winner of the American or UNLV, who I believe is going to go win the Mountain West. Because like I said, I'm not a conference pride guy. I'm kind of hoping it's UNLV. And I'm also a Dan Mullen guy, so that would be sweet if they made it. But yeah, I think it's a credit to the American as a whole, just with how, at least I know the bottom of the conference is real bad, but they're top heavy, not with just one team or two teams. It's a solid 3 to 5 that I think could go out there, win the conference, and make a push for the playoff.
Well, we've had 2 coaches get kicked to the curb. Who do you think's next on the chopping block?
I feel like it's easy to say that Napier and Pittman are the front runners. I feel like their seats are probably the highest, but I feel like with those 2 programs, it's hard in the SEC to fire a coach before the start of October. Honestly, before mid-October. So I guarantee you, there are programs scattered throughout the country, like in the G5 level, that are going to fire a coach before either of them. But I feel like as far as your big time jobs, at least, are concerned, I feel like it's those 2.
Yeah.
I did have there's a couple other things that, especially one, I know it's just one season. If Kansas State doesn't figure it out, what happens to Chris Kleiman? I know he's going to get another year.
Yeah.
But if this is the trajectory that they're on, I mean, what's stopping them from just eating that aside from money with whatever buyout it would be? I mean, I don't know when his contract runs out, and it's obviously way too early to tell. But the way they've looked so far this season, it's been dicey. His seat is. They've just turned the burners on, I think.
See, I got 2. Billy Napier, I think, being the obvious one. I think there's a possibility he's fired by Sunday following week 5.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets – I mean, even if they get beat down by Miami, I don't think they can him this week. But if I'm correct and they play Texas the following week, it might be over for him.
Yeah.
Especially if DJ continues to play the way he has.
Their next game is Texas after Miami. God, I mean, I do the schedule.
Yeah, what is it? Texas,
A&M. The A&M game's away.
Yeah.
Home against Mississippi State. Home against Georgia. At Kentucky, which should be a win. At Ole Miss. Home against Tennessee. Home against Florida State.
It's brutal.
That's rough.
But I mean, half the reason they kept him around was because of how DJ looked going down the stretch. Obviously, the one against Ole Miss kind of helped him keep his job, but I just don't see that turning point for them this year. And if he ain't the guy, then why keep the coach? My other one that I don't think a lot of people have talked about is Luke Fickell in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a lot of wins on that schedule.
I don't either.
And what is this, year 3 or 4? He has done nothing with Wisconsin. They have been pitiful. He's tried with multiple quarterbacks, and I think they've had problems keeping their quarterback healthy, but I don't see a lot of wins on their schedule. They're towards the bottom of the Big Ten. I could see him getting fired quickly.
There's one hole
now that I see that. Now that I see the buyout,
he's still got 4 years left after this season on his deal, and he'll be owed 80% of his remaining deal.
Whew.
So with $31.5 million left, that would be in the ballpark of $25 million that Wisconsin would owe him just to go out and get a coach that might be worse. Because I think Luke Fickell's a hell of a coach, but I feel like it's a lot harder to win at Wisconsin than it was 5-6 years ago. I feel like.
Tell me a better job than being a fired college football coach.
There isn't one. A fired NFL coach, maybe.
Fair. That's about all I got for week 3, unless you got anything else.
Yeah, I don't really think
I feel like we covered most of the bases there.
We hit it pretty good.
Again, if you guys are watching, feel free to have your opinions in the chat. We'll read them out. If you got things you want us to talk about, read them out. But we'll jump into the nitty-gritty of this week, at least for us here in Eastern North Carolina, as we need everyone to get rowdy at Dowdy this weekend at 7:30, as the BYU Cougars come in 6.5-point favorites. 49.5 is your over-under. number one defense in the land right now. They've played 2 tomato cakes, but they have allowed 3 points on the year. Legitimate D-line, NFL talent at linebacker. Got a true freshman quarterback, though. We'll see how that plays into things. What do you got on the matchup?
So it's really tough to kind of gauge what they truly are, considering, like you said, they've played 2 just
similar to us. They've played 2 more or less FCS teams.
Exactly.
Because Stanford ain't any good.
Stanford is in a free fall with Wake Forest down to the bottom of the ACC.
I guess Boston College too, because they did just beat them.
That's true. I forgot about BC. But so I got stats here, and I don't know if it's only FBS versus FBS stats that I got. Regardless, I'm gonna read them out anyways. Defensively, they're statistically the best defense in the country through 2 games. Their run defense is just disgusting.
Yeah, and they
so
played 2
good.
run-heavy teams at that too.
Exactly, and so that worries me considering our run game. It just has not really been up to snuff.
And what it's going to need to be Saturday for us to make this a ball game.
Exactly. We're not going to be able to go straight through the air the entire time. That's not going to be a recipe for success. But then offensively, they're also very run heavy.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in just a minute. But Bear Bachmeier, like you said, true freshman. I think he's true freshman.
Yeah, he's a true freshman. Yeah, true freshman.
But I don't know if he just struggles to do it or he just simply refuses to do it. He cannot get beyond his first read and there is no progression on any given passing play with Bear Bachmeier. If the first option's not open, he might find a second guy or somebody maybe across the middle something. If not, then it kind of just turns into a Busch Gardens roller coaster instead. And so if we can lock down their receivers and force them to run, I think that's basically kind of what we're gonna have to do to win this game. At least that's one aspect of what we need.
Yeah.
A couple stats here. ECU is 45th in the country in opponent yards per game, 45th in opponent yards per game and 17th in opponent points per game. BYU's first in both of those categories. But again, it's skewed just based on opponents. But
one less game.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you play. If you've allowed, like you said, they've played allowed 3 points on the season, and they've just dominated both of those games. And credit to them. That's a scary defense. But on the flip side, ECU is 22nd in the country in yards per game, 58th in points per game with BYU 61st. So right there with each other as far as scoring goes. And I think the biggest X factor of the game, it's kind of a cop-out to say the quarterback, but when Caton Hauser is 6th in the country in passing yards, he's kind of got to be the X factor. Because if he's not humming and our pass game is stagnant, we're not going to be able to rely on our run game. No. So that's where it's going to go south. So if he can, like we mentioned earlier, if he can stay hot because he's been on a tear these last couple of games, I think that'll put us in a good spot to go win this game potentially. But that's basically what I got right now.
Like you said, a lot is going to fall on Hauser this game. This is a very, very formidable defense. They have not been tested through the air like they are going to get tested Saturday. Like we've been saying, they've played 2 more run-heavy teams in Stanford and who they play? Freaking Pepperdine? Portland State, close enough. But this is going to be such a line of scrimmage game.
Yeah.
And our D-line is going to have to step up against their O-line that has been leaky so far this year. They get a guard back. I can't remember his name. He's got a Polynesian name, but I do not remember it. But they allowed Stanford to hit their quarterback. They've allowed that. We're blitz heavy. He's going to see things he hasn't seen. He's hopefully going to be in one of the most raucous environments this Saturday in Dowdy Ficklin. I think not only the run game for ECU is going to be pivotal, but the extensions of the run game are going to be big because they can get home to Caton with 4 guys. They don't need to blitz. He's going to have to be really patient and decisive with the ball. Turnovers will kill you in this game because I think 49.5 being the total, I think these are 2 pretty good defenses for the most part.
Yeah.
And I can see this being under. This is going to be a tight game.
I think so too.
Mistakes are going to be pivotal. It's going to be hard for us to have the explosives we've had in the passing game. I think JDB can dial something up. I'm sure he's found something already.
Yeah.
But I really think if the run game ain't there, you got to stick with it. It's going to frustrate the hell out of some people, but you got to stick with it. The passes behind the line of scrimmage, you got to stick with it. The screenplay, you got to rely on these guys in this downfield blocking to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a physical football team. Our wide receivers are going to get punched in the mouth. They just got to be able to throw one back. That being said, I got my kind of score prediction on the game.
Okay.
I like us in a tight one.
Yeah.
27-24.
I love
last minute field goal. The Pirates come out on top and shock the number 26 team in the land, according to the AP poll.
See, I want to take us to in my poll, there's a fan poll for the AP.
Yeah.
You best believe they're 24. But
I thought about putting them 12th in the rankings this week. I had to talk myself off that ledge of should I just put them 12th?
Yeah, you should.
I probably should have. I could change it.
I'd say I'm gonna also go a 3-point game. Give me 31-28. ECU, just like 3 years ago, wins it on a field goal.
That's I know it's been a while since we played them, but we have given them some heartbreakers.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we do it again Saturday. If you guys have anything in the chat to say, feel free. We'll hop back and talking about ECU and BYU, but we'll jump into the top 12. I had a lot of movement this week in mine. I got 4 new teams.
I don't even know who moved in, who moved out. I just know there was a lot of it.
Well, my top 2 looks a lot like yours now.
Yep.
I had Penn State moved up 1 spot from last week. They're my new number 1. Ohio State moved up from 3 to 2 for me. I dropped LSU back to 3. They haven't impressed me the last 2 weeks. Not to say I still think they're a good football team, but I need to see something.
I think 3's generous.
The middle of the pack stays the same, 4 through 6. I got Miami at 4, Oregon at 5. I keep Georgia at 6. Can't give them too much respect. Number 7, up 1, I got Florida State. And Oklahoma moving up 1 at number 8 because I had, I believe, South Carolina, Florida, Texas, Notre Dame all fall. We got Illinois in the 9 spot now, A&M in the 10 spot, Utah in the 11.
Come on now.
I was halfway right on what I said would be in Atlanta between Clemson and Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech might be in Atlanta, but they're going to be against Miami. I got them in the 12 spot.
There you go. All right. Yeah, like you said, Penn State, I've kept the same format where Penn State's my 1A, Ohio State is my 1B, but for the purpose of this, they're my number 2. I got the Ducks up to 3. Love what I've seen out of Oregon so far.
The piss out of everyone.
Yeah, they're just a joy to watch. Number 4, I got the Miami Hurricanes. I think they're the class of the ACC right now by a fairly decent margin. Like I said about Georgia earlier, I got them at number 5. With LSU right behind them, they look shaky against Florida a little bit, but I'm not even remotely close to counting them out yet. I got the Fighting Illini, Illinois at number 7. We'll get into them a little bit more in their matchup this week with Indiana, but I love what I've seen out of Illinois so far. I got the Seminoles at 8. Again, like what I've seen out of them so far too. I think Norvell he's turned it around in ways I could not fathom going into the season. So I got A&M at 9. Potentially the second best team in the SEC. Utah, I got them at 10. I think I had them at 11 or 12 last week. I'm under the impression that they can go 12-0 this season. Again, that'll come back up later. 11, I got Oklahoma. Another team that I'll mention here shortly, and then right behind them, Texas. I feel like they haven't been so bad as to not be at least in the top 15. And I feel like they were maybe a little more deserving of the 12 spot than a couple other teams around them. So
I had a problem with that 12 spot. And Texas never crossed my mind, but I mean, between Georgia Tech, thought about putting Tulane there. I thought about putting BYU there. There's a few teams. I think 9 through about 18 is pretty wide open right now.
Yeah.
It's shaping up to be a pretty darn good year of college football.
Oh, yeah.
This is where I always struggle because I can't ever tell to go with the slate first or picks first.
I should go slate first.
Okay. I think I did this in order of time. Maybe not. Texas Tech at Utah. I'm pretty sure that's big noon.
It is.
Utah, 3.5-point favorite. That hook's been deadly all year.
Yeah.
So I got to say about that hook. 47.5 is the total. Like we've kind of beat around saying all show so far, this is what we think are two of the better Big 12 teams. You're high on Utah. I'm not quite there on Texas Tech yet.
Yeah.
I like Utah in this game for what it's worth.
I like Utah too, but I'm a Corso. Yeah,
Close one.
I think this is a preview of the Big 12 championship game. I think these two teams will be meeting at the end of the season to play for a trophy. Both teams are top 15 in yards per game and opponent yards per game. So just both have been stellar on both sides of the ball. Sweet quarterback matchup. I'm a big fan of Baron Morton at Texas Tech. I was interested to see it kind of if they'd be winning early on the season because of him or kind of despite him. Definitely he's had a major part to do with that. I think he looked very good. And then one of my favorite quarterbacks, one of my favorite players in the country, Devin Dampier over at Utah, transferred from New Mexico. Loved watching him last year, even on that just terrible New Mexico team. He was awesome to watch. So I think this is one of a good handful of good quarterback matchups this week. But yeah, I like if my prediction is Utah can go 12-0. I don't think they're going to lose this one. So, give me the Utes.
Next, we got a little revenge game for Jackson Arnold as his Auburn Tigers head into Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is 6.5-point favorite, 47.5 is your total. I just can't get there on Auburn. I know Arnold's looked pretty good so far this year.
I want to get there. I know you probably don't, but
I think Venables has got a defense, and Mateer with everything that's wrong with Mateer, the kid can freaking play.
He got his quarterback.
He got a quarterback. Just look out for Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I think Oklahoma's legit.
I think so too.
I think they cover. I mean, honestly, I think they cover. I think they're just a little too much for Auburn, especially being at home. Yeah. You don't get the Jordan Hare crowd to mess with a quarterback that hasn't played really much SEC ball.
Yeah.
Or any SEC balls, considering he transferred from Wazoo.
Yeah,
but I just think this is too tough of a spot for Auburn.
I think so too, and I think Auburn's, in my opinion, has got a better coach in this game. I think Hugh Freeze is miles better than Venables as a head coach, but Venables now has gotten to the point just based, I think, on talent, and he's got the support around him staff-wise to where his offense is good enough so to where he can let that defense eat and put his hands in it a little bit and get it how he wants, and then just let John Mateer and that offense go to work and say, I got Oklahoma potentially by double digits. Yeah. And that's no indictment on Auburn. I think they're a very solid team.
I think
I'm not sold on Arnold yet.
I think Mateer's going to be in New York at the end of the year. I mean, the kid's just slinging it now.
I think he might be the best quarterback in the SEC.
He very well could be.
Statistically, right now, he definitely
is. Definitely is.
If you watch him,
he's played the best.
Exactly.
Next, another big, not as good as the slate as last week, but still a couple nice games. Michigan heads into Nebraska. Michigan, a 1.5 favorite. Moore's not going to be coaching. 46.5 is the total.
Yep.
I'm going to reserve my pick on this, but I think this is a huge spot for two unproven quarterbacks with Bryce Underwood and Dylan Raiola. two teams that I think have a shot on fighting for the Big Ten. Not going to say winning because I don't think they can compete with the big three teams.
Yeah.
But two teams that have playoff aspirations.
These are two, at worst, probably pretty good bowl game teams. I've been high on Nebraska coming into this. Like I was coming into the season. I'm still kind of high on them, but they haven't really shown me as much as I wanted them to. That being said, number one pass defense in the country so far. So I feel like with Underwood's inexperience, with this being his fourth collegiate football game, he might struggle a little bit. My big takeaway from researching this game was keep an eye out for Emmett Johnson at Nebraska. Very high up on the rushing leaderboards so far, but also a very good run defense and just good physical front overall for Michigan. I feel like that's going to be basically the winner of that battle in Nebraska's run game with Michigan's run defense is kind of where this game is going to be won or lost for somebody. With it being in Lincoln and just how I felt about Nebraska this season, plus I have a future on their win total. I'm gonna lean Nebraska here. I think this is a tight win though. Give me Nebraska. I'm not even gonna make a score prediction, but I like them close.
I'll get back to that one.
All right.
Another one that I'll get back to.
This one.
The Florida Gators are going to Miami. Miami's 7.5 point favorite. Kind of smells like a rat. I'll get back to it. 51.5 is the total. Can Florida find a little bit of life here?
I'll get back to this game too. Probably not. That's all I'm going to say.
I think we'll hold off on that. We might have a similar opinion on that one. I think kind of our last, or at least my last big game I wrote down, Illinois, another Big Ten team with, I think, playoff aspirations, goes to a Big Ten playoff team from last year. Was it the schedule or they got something going down there in Indiana? Indiana, the 5.5 point favorite, 52.5 is your total.
Yeah, I think it was the schedule, and it's going to be the schedule again this year, but not in this game. I think Illinois' makeup, and honestly, I just simply think they're better coached.
Yeah.
I love Bielema so much.
I love Brett Bielema.
This is another just banger quarterback matchup between Fernando Mendoza at Indiana and Luke Altmaier at Illinois. Neither has looked like an absolute world beater yet. I know Altmaier struggled a bit early this season. But I like Illinois in this game by maybe a couple whiskers.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tight football game, but I like Brett. I like what he does. I like how he runs a football team. I mean, and he's got a quarterback. I mean, this isn't your kind of typical Brett Bielema team where it is just we're going to smash it down your throat. He's got a quarterback that can play a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, hasn't really has had flashes, but hasn't had the consistency.
Yeah.
I like Illinois in a close one. In a close one.
I think this is the most fun game of the day, at least as far as like the big matchups are concerned. Just because this is going to be one of the more football games you'll see at least this week, if not throughout this first kind of half of the season. But yeah, I think Illinois is going to solidify their spot as a top 10 team after this one because Indiana is absolutely no slouch. Illinois is just I feel like a more confidence-inspiring team this season.
Yeah. Well, we'll do our picks. I'll let you go first because you're just whooping my tail right now.
Yeah, we're 9-6 this year. So if you've been tailing me, you're winning money. I've gone 3-2 each week so far, so there's no telling what the 3 wins and 2 losses will be this week, but I'm expecting more of the same. I'm going to start with tomorrow night's game, Rice at Charlotte. I have a play. I also have an alternate one, but give me Rice -2.5. Both of these teams stink, but I think Charlotte is making their own case to be the bottom 3 team in the country. So there's really not much more to it than that. Give me Rice -2.5. I also like the under in this game because both of these offenses are just putrid. It's the under's at 42.5, and I still like it.
God, that's so ugly.
I know.
It's an NFL over.
These teams are god awful, and I know Charlotte's going to probably beat us this year again because we haven't beat them before. Whatever. They stink, and they're going to lose this game by at least a field goal. I like Memphis plus 7.5 against Arkansas. I think Arkansas is a decent. I mean, they're a decent football team. I don't hate what I've seen from them defensively. I definitely don't hate what I've seen from Taylor Green. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC for sure. Honestly, he'd probably be in my top 5 right now, if not even higher. So I like Arkansas, but this Memphis team, I said it before the season, I think they're playing USF in the American Championship game. So I think this is one of those games that looks a little bit tough on paper, but with 7 in the hook, come on.
Yeah.
Give me Memphis to cover that, if not win it
That was a
outright.
tempting line for me. I don't blame you there.
It again, they might win that game outright. Because I think it's at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis too.
Yeah.
So they get the home field advantage there. I didn't like to do it last week, but it won. I'm betting on NC State again, plus 3.5 at Duke. A Duke team looking to rebound after a pretty hard fought, but kind of disappointing result down in New Orleans against Tulane. But I think this State team has been really sneaky so far. And I feel like they've become. You can see them becoming a better football team, kind of throughout the season. I feel like so. Give me State plus 3.5. I figured they'd be maybe a 3.5 point favorite in that game, but if you're going to give me the underdog, I'm going to take that. I'll save the other one for last, I guess. Do you want me to save that one for last? The fourth one.
You can rip it.
I'll just rip it. The number 4 ranked Miami Hurricanes against the Florida Crocodiles. They haven't earned Gator yet. Minus 7.5. If it was minus 14.5, I might still take it. I hate it for Florida fans. I really don't. But if I was a Florida fan, I'd hate it, I guess. So there's one way to look at it. But yeah, I think Miami rolls in this one. I think minus 7.5 is smooth. And then this is an interesting one. Northern Illinois, the Huskies, they're going down to Starkville, Mississippi. I'm looking back into last week. I can't remember if I bet against Mississippi State last week too. I don't know. Whatever I did, doesn't matter. Northern Illinois plus 21.5 in Starkville. I feel like Northern Illinois is a pretty sneaky team in the MAC. I've been pumping Ohio and Toledo's tires in that conference, but I feel like Northern Illinois is definitely a sneaky team. And so them getting 21.5 against Mississippi State, who looks like they figured a lot of stuff out, but how much of that do we really know for certain at this time? So I feel like that number might be a little balloon, so I'm taking that.
Don't blame you there. I went 2-3 last week, which I guess has been normal for me this year outside of the week before where I went 1-4. I am 5-11 on the year, just absolutely struggling my life off. We're going to need more bullets in a week or two if this continues. We are running thin on bullets already this year. So I'm hoping to turn it around this week. I'm going to start off with the big noon kickoff. I got it at 2.5. I know the line right now is 3.5, but I got the Utes minus 2.5 against Texas Tech. I think it's just going to be a little too much for the Red Raiders. And, yeah, give me the Utes. Another team in the SEC that we didn't really talk about earlier, but I'm still kind of high on and I think could sneaky be a playoff team. Give me Mizzou getting 9.5 with South Carolina, where I don't think Sellers is going to play.
Probably not.
And I think the wheels on the bus are going to start to fall off for South Carolina a little bit here. Give me Mizzou.
Mizzou's a damn good football team, too.
Yeah. Going to Miami.
Yeah.
As Will Smith said, give me the 7.5. It smells like a rat. I don't think it is. I think Florida's that bad.
Yeah. I think so.
that line's really, really low. I think this is the beginning of the end for Billy Napier. Give me Miami minus 7.5. Biff's taken over for Michigan this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think I saw a quote from him. I believe I saw a quote from him that said that he thinks his golden retriever could coach Bryce Underwood. He's that good. I still think Bryce Underwood is that good.
Yeah.
I know it was against Central Michigan, but he was like the first Michigan player to throw for like 250 and rush for 100. And God, since Denard Robinson, I think he's the real deal. Shout out to Pops for that stat, by the way.
Love that.
I think he's the real deal. I don't think Raiola is bad, but I really think Biff's going to open it up for him. Sneaky coach that could get fired is Moore because I don't think he can coach. Watch him. I just open up the offense for him, and I think Michigan can win this game. Minus 1.5. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And
I disagree with you. But
yeah. Tulane got it done for me, I think, last week. I believe that, yes. Yeah, Tulane got it done for me against Duke last week with an outright win. Should have took the money line. Plus 10.5. Don't think they're winning this week. I just looked it up. It looks like Simmons is going to play for Ole Miss this weekend. Let's see how healthy he is, but I think Tulane can keep this within the number.
Yeah.
I think Ole Miss still wins, but I do see them keeping it within the 10.5. So give me Tulane.
Yeah, I could easily see that being a one-score game.
That's all we got for picks. If you guys want to put things in the chat, we'll talk about it. If not, Paul's going to do his jerseys. Well, I guess you guys can ask questions, opinions, whatever. What you got for jersey matchups of the week?
I'm not going to make the mistake that I did last week. There were some sweet unis unveiled this week that are not going to be coming out until later. There's the two best that I've seen so far are, I'm just biased now. I guess I'm just a West Virginia fan.
Yeah.
They're 1965 throwbacks that they're pulling out this week. I didn't even write them down. I was like, that's all I've been able to think about. I got a shirt with that logo on it this weekend. It was sick. And then the Oregon Shoe Duck unis with the white helmet. It's basically blackout, but it's with white numbers and whatever. Sweet gold trim. Sorry, I keep forgetting to grab pictures. Let's see. Other interesting unis that I found are being used this weekend. Rutgers has a brand new blackout. It's sweet. It's like just the blackest black uniform I think I've ever seen, and there's like no white on it anywhere. It's just red or scarlet, I guess. Sorry, as the accent, and it's nice. Kansas is going blackout.
Like an announcer's worst nightmare.
What?
Just a pure black jersey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's see. Kansas is going blackout. I love their black unis. Liberty, with another faux back look this week, they're going all navy. It looks pretty sweet. Charlotte's doing those stupid gold uniforms that they have, but they're just tan. I hate those things, but they're wearing them this weekend or on Thursday for the whole world to see on ESPN. That's really it as far as like special ones I got some matchups though. No like crazy new helmets or anything this week, but my old head matchup of the week, I actually have a couple of them. My just old head matchup is Michigan at Nebraska.
It's hard. I figured that's where you're going with that. It's hard to go anywhere else.
And then my ancient matchup of the week is Illinois Indiana. That's just proper Big Ten right there.
That's residents of Southwest Florida's delight right there.
Exactly. If you're just an old school, this is not an old head one. It's just everyone loves the Southwest Conference.
Yeah.
SMU TCU is going to look real nice this weekend. UNC and UCF. I haven't seen either uniform revealed for that matchup, but that looks like it has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And then just so much color overload. Look, just Texas Tech at Utah, so much red. Maryland at Wisconsin, more red. Syracuse at Clemson, way too much orange. UNLV at Miami, Ohio, more red. Boise State at Air Force, a nice, just as blue as you can get Mountain West matchup. And then again, enough with the orange. Sam Houston State at Texas. If you're an aesthetics person, don't watch those games. Unless it's Texas Tech, Utah, because that one's actually worth watching.
Yeah.
But that's all I got.
That's about all we got. Thanks everyone for watching. Please, YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, show a friend. Twitter, please like and retweet.
Give us a follow.
Give us a follow. If you're on Twitch, subscribe. If you're tailgating near the Belk a lot, feel free to come find us, I guess.
I won't be there.
Ah, you suck.
Well, no. People who schedule fall weddings suck. Sorry, Shaw and Rebecca, I love you, but I love the Pirates.
Hope to see you all around 7:30. Be rowdy at Dowdy. Let's go shock the nation on ESPN2. That does it for the Downey Sports Network. That's week 4.
Wear gold. It's a gold out.
Yeah, it is a gold out.
Gold.
Wear gold. 8 o'clock Wednesdays, remainder of the year. We will see you here, whether it be on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. That about wraps it up for us. Appreciate y'all hanging out. We'll see y'all next week.